Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this press conference on the informal meeting of finance ministers. We have three gentlemen who will first tell you about today's discussions. First, Mr. Mika Lintilä, Minister of Finance, then Mr. Valdis Dombrovskis, Vice President of the European Commission, and finally, Mr. Luis de Guindos, Vice President of the European Central Bank. After the opening remarks, we'll have time for your questions. My name is Tommi Tolkki, and I'm a communications specialist at the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. It's been a great pleasure to host a meeting that deals with the three of our presidency priorities: climate action, security, and competitiveness. We started the meeting with a good discussion on climate action. I heard a strong willingness to do more as finance ministers. I also heard a strong willingness to do more at European level. My colleagues brought up several tools, for example, carbon pricing, fiscal tools, investments, sustainable finance, and the EU budget. All in all, this was a good start for the collaboration of EU finance ministers. To take these issues further, we need to discuss climate action regularly. The discussion on climate change mitigation will continue tomorrow when we talk about the role of energy taxation. On the second topic was hybrid threats in the financial sector. Today's discussion helped us understand what these threats mean in practice. A strike against critical points in the financial system could bring society to its knees. In case of an attack, we need to act together in a structured and coordinated way. This is why we have to strengthen our capabilities to combat hybrid threats. What we can do prepare for these new threats. We identified several areas to explore. First, we need to carry out tests. Second, we have to coordinate actions to different authorities. Third, we must share information and harmonize reporting of incidents. This topic is on the agenda of several ministerial meetings during our presidency. After the discussion, there will be a report with suggestions for future work. Today's last session was about the Capital Markets Union. We need an integrated European capital market for growth, sustainability and stability in Europe. This makes us also more competitive globally. There was a broad consensus that the Capital Markets Union is not complete and we should aim to take it further. We talked especially about how the capital markets could better serve household investors and small businesses. This was a good start for the informal Ecofin meeting. I hope to see you again tomorrow when we talk about energy taxation and EU fiscal rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you for the warm welcome in Helsinki and for excellent organization of the meeting. And also, I'd like to thank Finnish presidency for putting climate action so high on your agenda. Climate action has been an important priority of this Commission and is central to the upcoming European Green Deal. Indeed, it's of utmost importance that climate action becomes an integral part of finance ministers' agenda. To achieve our Paris goals, we need both public and private investment. Because the cost of becoming the first climate-neutral continent will be too big for only public purse to pay. Financial markets are critical in financing investments in green economic activities. So most urgently, we need to move ahead with a unified EU classification system or taxonomy. It is essential to be able to determine if an economic activity is environmentally sustainable. So I hope that the Council will soon finalize its position, and I thank the Finnish presidency for its continuous efforts in this. This agreement is then key for developing new green initiatives in the future, such as a new green financing strategy. Our discussions on hybrid threats show that we all share a sense of urgency when it comes to ensuring that our financial institutions are resilient to potential attacks. For the financial system, the biggest threats are cybersecurity and disinformation, such as spreading fake news that move markets or destabilize currencies, or the hacking or destroying of data. For instance, the NotPetya attack in 2017 targeting Ukrainian financial services, but it spread from there quickly and led to the more than €1 billion of damage globally. The financial sector is different from other critical infrastructures, such as transfers, because in financial sector they cater for EU-wide or even global markets. In other words, countries often depend on critical infrastructure that is not located within their borders. This is why financial market infrastructures are our joint responsibility, and they require joint responses coordinated at the EU level. We have already made substantial progress in the area of financial market and payment infrastructures, but awareness and preparedness against such risks varies across sectors and across member states. The European supervisory authorities have already made recommendations in April in this regard, and this is useful input for our work in this critical area. Finally, we discussed the Capital Markets Union. The Capital Markets Union has been a key element of the Commission's ambition to boost growth and create jobs in Europe, invest in innovation, and promote our global competitiveness. During this mandate, we have made a lot of progress already. Nearly all CMU proposals are complete, but this is not enough. The CMU now needs to go to the next level. We must speed up the work to diversify financing sources for companies, including making it easier for SMEs to access capital market funding. We must create more saving opportunities for European citizens to put those savings to productive use. And we should not shy away from tackling difficult issues such as improving the supervisory system and addressing divergences in insolvency frameworks or tax proceedings. We'll need full engagement of all finance ministers, as well as support and expertise in areas like insolvency from justice ministers. On a personal note, I'm delighted to have a chance to work on this important project also in the future. I will do my utmost to mobilize political will, because Capital Markets Union is absolutely necessary to help our startups and SMEs tap funding to develop and grow, and to ensure economic growth and job creation in Europe. Thank you.
Good evening. Let me start, if I may, thanking the Finnish government for an excellent organization of this meeting and for its hospitality. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I think that the Minister and the Vice President of the Commission, they have clearly made the main points of the three topics that we have dealt with today. Perhaps the only thing that I can do is to put a little bit of color from the ECB standpoint on these three topics. With respect to climate change, now in the European Central Bank we are giving, as you know, an increasingly rising importance to the question of climate change and the potential implications that it might have in terms of financial stability. This is something that we are analyzing, and even we are considering the possibility of introducing climate change and the transition from a brown economy to a green economy as part of the stress test that we will have to carry out in the near future. Secondly, with respect to hybrid threats, what I have to say is that this is something that is a new topic that has been dealt with in the informal Ecofin, but that I find extremely interesting. I think that we need a comprehensive approach with respect to these potential threats, these hybrid threats that are polyhedric because they have a multidimensional facet that we have to take into consideration, including financial stability. And in that regard, at the level of the national central banks and the level of the European Central Bank, we have created groups in order to try to guarantee that cyber attacks will not eventually affect payment systems and the stability of the financial system. And finally, with respect to Capital Market Union, I agree with the Minister and with the Vice President. I think that the key issue is delivery. I think that we have identified the main targets that we want to reach, the main instruments that are going to be available. I think that there is a broad consensus with respect to the way forward. And what we have to start to do is to deliver. I think that a lot of progress has been accomplished. I think that is very good news that Valdis Dombrovskis will continue being responsible for this very important dossier. And I hope that Capital Market Union will be one of the areas of success in terms of delivery in the near future.
Thank you. Now it's time for your questions. Please wait for the microphone and mention your name and media before asking your question. We'll start from the front.
Meletik, ARD German TV. I have a question for the Minister. You announced that Finland would like to stop importing beef and soybeans from Brazil, and I would like to know why exactly. And did you raise this issue with your colleagues at the Ecofin meeting? And if yes, with which outcome? And thirdly, wouldn't it be a little bit contradictory to the Mercosur agreement? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had to give my answers in Finnish. Some technical problems. It sounds like that. Now. Jos kuulin oikein, niin sanoitte, että Suomi on käynnistämässä uudelleen lihan ja soijan tuontia Brasiliasta. Ei Suomi ole koskaan sitä keskeyttänytkään. Can you say it again?
I didn't get the beginning of the translation, but my question was, you announced that you would like to stop importing beef and soybeans from Brazil. That is my question.
Now I got it. Ilmoitimme, että komissio tutkisi, onko mahdollinen naudanlihan tuonnin keskeyttäminen Brasiliasta. Tämä on se, jonka Suomi tai itse olen esittänyt kantana, ja myöhemmin tähän samaan on liittynyt sitten myös kysymys siitä, onko soijan osalta tehtävä jotain ratkaisuja. Taustalla tässä se, että halusin nostaa painetta Brasiliaa kohtaan, että he alkavat toimenpiteisiin Amazonin erittäin tuhoisten palojen lopettamiseksi.
And next question.
Ivo Caizzi, Corriere della Sera. As you know, one of the biggest problems in the Eurozone, in the European Union now, is the slowing down of the growth. You have participated to the Eurogroup. You listened to what the president of the ECB has said again today. And your colleague, President Centeno, said that a country like Germany that have excessive surplus has to spend them more to stimulate growth. Vice President Dombrovskis agreed on this principle, and I would like to know, as a Finnish minister and as president of the Ecofin, if you agree with President Centeno and Vice President Dombrovskis. And a specific question on the same issue to Vice President Dombrovskis. I would like to know, referring to what just said in the Eurogroup press conference, are you ready to take action against Germany and the Netherlands, since they are violating since many years the EU rules on excessive deficit?
Tietysti tämä kysymys on enemmänkin euroryhmän kysymys ja en voi Ecofinin puheenjohtajana ottaa tähän kantaa ja mahdolliset investointipäätökset, elvyttämiset, joita tapahtuu, niin ne on kansallisia päätöksiä.
Okay, on this question, I would say this has been a long-standing position of the European Commission, and it has been reflected also in a country-specific recommendations to the relevant countries, including, as you mentioned, Germany and Netherlands. So from that point of view, European Commission is of view that member states should pursue differentiated fiscal policies. Member states which do not have fiscal buffers, which have large debt levels, should be using good economic times, and currently, as we see, times may not be as good anymore. So it's of course of a concern that not all countries with high debt levels have used good economic times to bring down public debt during this period and rebuild with this some fiscal buffers, and that countries which have fiscal space should use this fiscal space to stimulate economy, especially investment. So this has been reflected consistently also in Commission documents. As regards action, this is a reason why Germany and Netherlands are part of the macroeconomic imbalances procedure, why European Commission has identified that those countries have macroeconomic imbalances. That's exactly for the reason of large and consistent, consistently large current account surplus.
Next question, Soili in the middle.
Soili Senkina, Finnish Business Daily, Kauppalehti. First question to Mr. Dombrovskis about Capital Markets Union. Did today's discussion provide you with any idea from where to start? Some concrete steps? What are the first ones, such as harmonization of corporate taxation or something like this? And to Ms. Lintilälle, kiitos. Suomen tavoitteena on, että EU on hiilineutraali vuoteen 2050 mennessä. Tuliko tänään jonkinlaisia konkreettisia toimia tai ajatuksia siitä, miten siihen tavoitteeseen tai siihen sitoumukseen päästään vielä Suomen EU-kauden aikana?
So, to respond to your question on Capital Markets Union, indeed, today we had a very good discussion, and I would say it was valuable input also for Commission's future work. We had good input from experts invited by Finnish presidency, but also from ministers. So, Commission now will assess, so to say, today's discussion, and it certainly will feed in our work on preparing next proposals for the Capital Markets Union for moving forward for the next 5 years. As I said, Capital Markets Union will continue to be important priority of the European Commission, and that when working on Capital Markets Union, we also should not shy away from difficult issues like harmonization of certain insolvency features or of certain tax structures. This has proved difficult in previous years, but if we want to move forward with further developing Capital Markets Union, we will have to look also in those issues and hopefully being able to make further progress.
Nämä konkreettiset toimet, joita keskusteluissa oli esillä, niin voisi sanoa, että oli lähinnä niitä työkaluja, joita valtiovarainministerillä on käytössä. Budjetti, verotus, rahoitukselliset keinot. Mutta eniten minun teki vaikutuksen se selkeä asennemuutos, mitä on tapahtunut, kun keskustellaan ympäristön suojelusta tai ilmastonmuutoksen ehkäisyn keinoista. Voisiko sanoa, että valtiovarainministeriön vastuullisuus on selkeästi kehittynyt?
Next question, the gentleman in the middle.
Tobias Kaiser from Die Welt in Berlin. One question to Mr. Dombrovskis. When talking about the Capital Market Union, you talked about new opportunities for savers, which is also close to the heart for Bruno Le Maire. Could you elaborate on that, how that could look like, especially in current times we have interest rates near or even below zero?
That's exactly one of the points, that we have in Europe generally a high level of savings. At the same time, most of those savings are at currently very low interest rate bank accounts. So what we are saying here is that part of the Capital Markets Union is to develop retail savers products, whether they are pensions products or insurance products. There can be different categories, but that's basically the idea, that we provide more opportunities for savers, not only to have money in bank accounts, but also invest in different capital market products which provide higher interest and also provide much needed investment to the European economy. Of course, by doing so, we need adequate safeguards in terms of investor protection, in terms of especially retail investor protection, because we must understand that inherently capital market products are higher risk products, and correspondingly, retail investors need to be aware of this, and they need to have sufficient information on where they are investing, what are potential risks.
And next question on the right, in the front. Yeah.
Good evening, Kadavoti in Kronos, Italy. 2 questions for the Vice President Dombrovskis, if I may. First, on your meeting with the Minister Gualtieri, may you elaborate a little bit on that meeting, on the content of your conversations? And then, with the previous government, you used to say, if I recall well, that the investment clause for Italy was over. It was not possible anymore to have flexibility for investments. Is there possibility of it to have a flexibility for investment over for Italy or not for 2020? Thank you so much.
Well, First, on the meeting with Minister Galtieri. So indeed, it was our first bilateral meeting in his new capacity. So once again, I would like to congratulate Roberto Galtieri on this new appointment. We had been working closely together in previous years with him as a chair of Econ committee in European Parliament. So I look forward for continued constructive cooperation. Well, as regards today's discussions, it was basically to have a general outline of the priorities of the new government and the way new government would approach preparations of 2020 budget. Well, this is still work in progress. There is more than a month until the deadline of submission of draft budgetary plans. But what was encouraging that Roberto Galtieri outlined as an intention for Italy to be within the rules of the preventive arm of the Stability and Growth Pact. Indeed, he indicated some interest also looking at certain flexibilities which exist within Stability and Growth Pact. On specific flexibilities, we would need to do more in-depth assessment. I cannot go to the conclusions right now. It also depends on assessment on in which stage of economic cycle, whether there are good times or normal times or bad times Italy is, but this will be clearer once we have prepared our autumn economic forecast.
We have time for one more question on the right. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Todd Buell from Law 360. A question to the Minister. Looking ahead to tomorrow and the discussion on energy taxation, how much of an obstacle is the lack of qualified majority voting procedure on tax issues to bringing energy tax forward? Thank you.
Tärkeämpi varmasti on käydä nyt valmistavaa keskustelua yleensä energiaverotuksesta. Se, että niin verotukseen yleensä kantaa ottaen määräenemmistön käyttöön. Me tiedämme sen taustan. Se on monelle pienelle maalle ollut verotuksellinen turva ja yksimielisyysvaatimus siinä. Ja tätä keskustelua tuskin avataan. Uskon, että keskustelu tulee enemmänkin olemaan niissä käytänteissä, mitä eri maissa on. Esimerkiksi nimenomaan energia eri muotojen tai ehkä jopa liikenteenkin osalta. Ja nämä on varmaan niitä, joita keskustelussa käydään.
Thank you everyone. Have a nice evening in Helsinki.